Hello and welcome to episode 36 and a new weird bug. I was trying to update this blueprint for constructors, and I did. I updated it and I saved it, and then I cleared it. Right? Constructors updated. We're going to go ahead and clear the blueprint designer. Okay? Blueprint designer has been cleared. In fact, let's go to the blueprint designer. Let's open another blueprint. The retaining wall. I haven't opened that in a long time. There it is. Yep, it's the retaining wall. Okay, let's go ahead and clear it again. Right? It's clear. There's nothing here. Let's go over here. And I'm in my creative save, by the way. That's why I have Mark 3 and I can fly. Let's go to my blueprints, and there's that constructor's updated blueprint. Let's go ahead and click it once, and you can see. Oh, what's that sound? Oh yeah, yeah. It reloaded this blueprint that I cleared, even though I loaded another blueprint in between. All right, the first thing we're going to start with is the quartz. So the quartz is coming in from over there. It's coming this way. I do need to go over there and fix the miners in a second, because I realized I have 3 Mark II miners overclocked to 250%. And I unlocked the Mark IIIs, so I should be able to switch it from a Mark II at 250 to a Mark III at 125. And that should be less power. It's the same number. It should just be less power. So we're on the top production floor, right? This building's only got 3 floors, production, logistics, production. I'm going to bring the quartz all the way up here and turn it into silica, and then send silica back to the first floor, because I want the refineries on the first floor because of the water, right? I don't want to pump the water. So no problem pumping this stuff up or conveying this stuff up. So it's going to be 2 belts of 600, 1,200 total. We'll send 600 down one line, 600 down the other line. It's going to be 2,000 silica coming back. So it's going to be 2 belts coming back because I only have the Mark Vs. This is the quote unquote updated blueprint. All I did was I took the catwalks off, and then I took off a lot of these conveyor supports and changed the belts to Mark V, and I think I changed these to Mark III. That's really the only difference. I could have used the other one, but this is a little easier. But what I wanted to cover was auto connect. So this is right where I need this blueprint, is right here. The auto connect is only going to connect the belt to the belt, which means it's missing that one, it's missing these 2, it's missing that one, and it's going to connect that one. In order to get it to auto connect between these, I think I just need 1 belt. I think I need 1 belt and it would auto connect, but I know before at the medium factory, and it was kind of buggy right when it first came out, because that was when 1.1 was an experimental. I had a short piece of belt and a short piece of belt, and then it auto connected that. So I ended up with 3 belt segments. And then when I came back later to upgrade the belt, it's a pain running along and going click, 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 right? And it's really easy to miss one too. So I'm not going to let this auto connect, and I'm just going to turn it off because I've already got to manually connect some. I don't want to change the blueprint to make it auto connect, because then I end up with all those little short belt segments. So we'll just do it manually. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but there's enough space here, and I didn't do any math. I just made the building. I knew in the medium factory, I think I made it an even number. It was like 4 bays, right? And I'm calling this a bay, the big one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's 5. The medium factory was 4, and I didn't like that when it came to doing cross bracing. So I wanted an odd number. So when we did the oil refinery, I did it 3. This one, I'm like, okay, I'll just do 5 because I think I need more than 3. So I picked 5. It just so happens this blueprint, if you start it where I normally start it with the bay, because it's supposed to be each one's a bay. There's 5 bays. These are 10 constructors. That would be 50 constructors. To turn the 1,200 quartz into the 2,000 silica, I actually need 53.3 constructors, or in reality 54. So I started the blueprint 1 foundation back. So I've got kind of 2 extra here. And when I get down to the other end, I'll push it. Well, I'll end up having to add another one and then delete most of it. But yeah, it'll be just room for 54. There's no reason to put a second floor on just for a couple. And there's no reason to do like 2 bays just for a couple when it almost fits. So I'll go ahead and snap that. I'm going to throw down some more, and all I'll have to do is come back, connect 2 conveyors, 2 conveyors, 2 conveyors, and then connect the power lines like so in between the connection point as well. I've already got this first one powered off the ceiling. And then we'll just have to connect those two things up and we'll be making some silica. So this is going to give us 300 quarts a minute for 50 megawatts. And it's a Mark II at 250%, right? So 50.4, that's the one to beat. And what am I missing? Wait, fuse modular frames. Don't I have that going into my... I don't understand. Okay, I got to run over to... it must be out of resources. Stand by. Well, you know what? Never mind. I could go get it to make more fuse modular frames, but the turbo motors, yeah, I don't have... It takes modular engines, and I don't have modular engines going into the depot, so I have to go back to the medium factory and handcraft, and it takes the cooling. Yeah, it's just whatever. We'll do that later. That's a later thing. We're still going to get the correct number. We're going to get 1200. I might be able to save a little power doing it the other way. So we're going to go ahead and curve. I don't think there's anything here that's necessarily going to look good. If I do that straight from there, I'd have to do that. I mean, maybe this is okay. And the reason I did the Mark IIIs, these only need 22 input. But I'm like, I'm going to do Mark IIIs just so that technically it's not going to fill up any faster, but it looks like it's going to fill up faster because it's going to fill these up quicker and move down the line quicker. It's all the same difference though. So yeah, and then these aren't going anywhere, of course. So we're already got silica building up here, and we're gonna need the silica downstairs, but I don't know how many bays over. So I'm just gonna hold off on doing that. So that's making us some silica. Actually, I should probably just check, make sure everything's good, which will be hard to tell because yeah, the belt's got to build up. Give me a couple minutes just to make sure all these are working. So just to review our production chain here. So we're making the silica upstairs. The first thing we're going to need to do is use bauxite and water. We're going to turn it into aluminum solution and more silica. And this silica will get sent down the line. And we're going to pull water in from down the line and from water extractors, okay? And then we need bauxite, and the bauxite's right there. The next set of machines, we're going to take the alumina solution and coal. So the alumina solution will be basically in this bay, right? And then I'm assuming these refineries will be in that bay. So we'll take the alumina solution from this bay over to that bay. We'll add the coal. The coal comes in down on that. Is it on this floor? Or is it on the... Yeah, it's on this floor, right? Yeah, it comes in down there. So those two things will be right here. We're going to push out aluminum scrap and water. That water needs to come back to here. And then the aluminum scrap will go over and it'll get added in with the silica from the first machine and the silica from upstairs with the aluminum scrap to make aluminum ingots. We're going to use some of the aluminum ingots to make aluminum casing. We're going to use some of the aluminum ingots with copper to make the alcad sheets. And here on the corner of the building where everything comes in, there's one copper node right there. That's a normal. Then there's over here. Yep, right there. That one's a pure. So a pure and a normal. I don't know exactly how much we need. That was weird. Door would not let me in. I don't know how much we need. I know how many aluminum ingots we're going to make, but how many am I going to turn into casing and how many am I going to turn into the alcad sheets? I'm not sure. Yeah, but that's where the copper. Yeah, that one's the pure. Sorry, I was looking at the map and I'm like, wait, did I say that backwards? No, I didn't. The pure is by the train tracks. So I don't know how much of that we're going to need. That's the first part of it. And then there's the more complicated stuff. But basically, I need to put a whole bunch of refineries. I think I need, let me look at my thing. I need 20 refineries, which will be basically this whole bay. 20 refineries will fill this whole bay using the same blueprint I used over at the oil refinery. So that'll be this bay. Then this bay will be these refineries. I only need 10 of these refineries. So that'll be half a bay. Then I'm going to need 40 foundries. So that could be this bay. Or I could send all the ingots upstairs or all the scrap upstairs. It's simpler to do it here. What I don't want to do is go bay to bay to bay to bay and then be like, okay, well, now I need to send stuff upstairs because I'm out of space, but then I have to go all the way back and up. So that's why we're kind of doing the silica and bringing it down. Yeah, and then we'll have the casings and then these. And I don't know where, I mean, ideally this one would be downstairs because we could bring the copper in. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Oh, wait, and I need copper ingots, don't I? I need copper ingots, so I'll have to have smelters to smelt the copper. We're not going to get that far. We're not going to get that far. All right, so I'm going to use the same blueprint I used at the oil refinery to do this bay, but it's not going to work exactly. And I started, I don't want to use, yeah, let's just use this one. Nope, that's the simple one. I want to use the one. So I started to modify this. And the issue is, well, I'll just go ahead and build it. Who cares? So we need bauxite and water coming in and then the solution and silica coming out, right? So the bauxite, all right, so I could just bring the bauxite down. Well, then the issue is I need 120. So there's 4 of them. So that's 480. Okay, that's fine. But then the next one I can't do 4. So I'm going to have to subdivide that up a little weird. I kind of need to divide the 3 bauxite into like 5. I don't know how I'm going to do that. The water 180. I don't know how we're going to supply 180 exactly. It's definitely not going to be, there's not going to be one pipe that does 600, right? Because 180 times 4 is 720. So yeah, I can't even use one pipe. There has to be 2 pipes for 4 refineries. And then over here, we're going to kick out the Alumina Solution, which 1 refinery here is going to feed 2 in the next bay. So I could put 3 of these on a pipe, right? Oh, I need to go to the one with the recipe. 120, yeah, 120 times 3. So that would be, no, 2 of these feed 1. So 2 of these feed 1. Yeah, see, I don't know how that's going to work. And then we got to send, we'll have water kicking out of here. And, or no, silica. We'll have the silica kicking out of here. Now that one will be easier to recombine. Yeah, basically, I started to change these blueprints and then I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to place these blueprints down and then delete a lot of it and just do it manually. Because even if I made the blueprint, it's literally each one of these is a different blueprint, except I reuse, I think I have the 3 blueprint and then 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 4. So yeah, and then when we go over here, it's going to be totally different. So basically I got to do this manually, long story short. Yeah, I put the blueprints down and then realized that I didn't quite have enough space on, so this is the inputs. So the 2 inputs, the way I had the blueprint before for the inputs was there was just a short piece of pipe, the cross piece, and then a short piece of pipe, right? So there's 2.5 foundations right now between these, like, and that's going off the white, you know, I don't want to call it a hit box because it's not a hit box, but that white box around it. There's exactly 2.5 foundations from the white box to the white box. Before it was less than 1 foundation, I'm going to say, between these, and it turned out to not be enough space. So I literally tore all the blueprints down, which you're not going to see me do that, putting them up, because I'm just going to not include that. But I just manually put the blueprints down with 2.5 spaces. And so here's where the inputs are. And I'll have inputs there and inputs down there, but this one's done. So the reason that I needed to spread these farther apart was before they were so close together, there was just room for 1 conveyor to go down and split off to feed all 8, which was fine on the old ones for like the plastic and the rubber and stuff. But for this, it's not going to work. And that's because these need 120. So 120 times 4 is 480, but 480 and 480 is 960. I only have a Mark V belt that can do 780. So I only had room to run 1 belt down here, but I needed more than 1 belt. So the way I'm going to do it is, you know, spread these out, and then I can have a 480 run and a 480 run. Well, the problem is then you still need 960, right? So I'm going to use the priority merger. So what's going to happen is there's 3 of the bauxite conveyors, and they're on 3 separate belts right now. And I'm just trying to make it simple so when I get the Mark VI, I don't need a lot of it. So this belt's going to have 300. This one's going to have 600. This one's going to have 1200. Right now, it's only going to have 780 on it, but eventually it'll be 1200. So I've got those 3 belts. That doesn't work out to 120 at all. So we'll have those 3 belts, 3, 6, and 12. Let's say the 1200 will be the bottom one because it's easier to explain, even though the 300 is going to be the bottom one. But let's say the 1200 is coming in. 1200 feeds into this. It takes 480. There would be enough here to feed this, except the 1200 belt's only going to be 780 right now. So the 780 belt comes in, feeds out 480, comes to here, can't feed enough. Priority merger. The next belt above, which is going to be the actual 600 belt, that'll be 600, is going to priority merge into this belt. But the priority merger is set to take this belt. So I want the 1200, 600 right now, feed 480, and I want 100% of it to go forward. And then whatever room there is on the belt, I want the 600 to feed down. So then this will be a full 480, and then it's going to drop down again, which means I'm going to need another priority merger. I don't need it super tight though. I could just like put it in the middle here. I could just put it right there, right? And then the remainder of that 600 belt drops down. Then that comes along, and I believe so then it'd be this one would be the other inputs. And then we would have the same thing again, set up down there, set up down here, where now there's only 2 belts left. The first one feeds down, and then the other one priority merges in, and then that feeds down. And it should all work perfectly now that we have priority mergers. If that didn't make sense, I'll show it again when I'm done. But basically, I'm going to copy this thing down there to that one, and then I need just this half right in here. And then we'll bring the 3 belts down, and they're going to be backwards from how I explained it. But the first belt is basically going to get used up. And as it gets used up, the second belt's going to keep dropping its stuff down. And then the third belt's going to drop down. And yeah, and then by the time you get down to the end, there's only 1 belt left. All right, let me build that. All right, let me try to explain this a little better. So 300, 600, 1200. The 300 is going to be the bottom one, then the 6 and the 12. So 3, 6, 12. So we're going to use 4 times 120. So we're going to use 420 here. Wait, I thought I was saying 480, wasn't I? Yeah, 480. I can't math. 480. And there's only going to be 300 on this one. So we need to get more onto this belt. There's 600 on this belt. There's 300 here, right? So I've got a splitter and a merger. The merger is set high priority middle, low priority left and right. So I'm going to take a Mark 5 here, and this should connect even though it's too close. Well, it's not the way. I've definitely done this before. There it goes. So because it's high priority, it's going to push the 300 through. The 300 is going to go all through, and then there's room left. This is a 780 belt, okay? 780 minus 300 is 480. So 480 is going to come off this belt onto this belt. This is going to be a full belt of 780, okay? That one was a 600. There was 600 on there. We just took 480 off, so there's 120 left. So our 720 is going to go down. We're going to use 480 of it, right? So we've got 720 on that belt. We're going to send off 480. Okay, there's 240 left. The 240 is going to come down to here. I've got a priority merger again, and then 2 splitters. So I've got 480. I've got 120. I've got the priority merger set medium on the right side, which is this side. So I want to do the same thing. Oh, I don't know if it's going to let me do this because I need to go from the bottom up, but it's going to snap to there. I might need to delete this splitter. There we go. Put that splitter back. All right, like I was saying. So you got whatever I said, and there's the 120 left. It's set to medium. It's set for high priority middle, so it's going to push everything on this lower belt down. This is the medium priority. There's only 120 left. That 120 can fit on the belt easily. So now you've got whatever on this belt. This is the 1200 belt. It's 600 for now. It is set left side low priority. So then I'm going to take the Mark V and I need to go to the middle, and then you're definitely going to let me do this. Oh, I need to go from there to there. Yeah, right, yeah. Right. So that's going to take off however much room is left. What did I say? 240. So there was 240 on that belt, and we're adding 120. 360. 780 minus 360 is 420. So there's room for 420. So there'll be 780 left on that belt. So technically, I could use a Mark V here. I only need to go Mark VI on this top belt from here to there, and then just outside to that first miner. So there's going to be 480 left on this belt, and then this is a belt of 780 again. We're going to come down here. We're going to dump off another 480, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to merge back down. Nope, got to do the bottom one first. So there's 780 there minus whatever. I don't know if that math works out. I don't really care. That might empty that belt and get it all down here, but if it doesn't, I'm just going to do it again. And then at that point, oh, did I do it down here? I'm confused. The first line comes off, we bring more onto that belt. More comes off, I bring more onto that belt. More comes off, and then I bring more onto that belt. Yeah, it's probably done at this one. It's probably done at this one. We still need water, a lot of water. And then we've got two outputs. Yeah, this is kind of a mess. None of these have power, but I'll go ahead and hook the bauxite conveyors up down here. Oh, how am I going to do this? Not like that. Should we... It's going to look weird because they've got to do that and go up. And then that one's got to go up, and that one's got to go up. Maybe I should get them up and then turn the corner. How tight can I turn with this? Like, let me do it, and then it's like, well, I mean, no, you can't do that. So I guess, is that going to go this way? Oh, yeah, it is. I'm just going to put that there. I just want to make sure I have enough room. Because we're essentially doing that. Maybe we should do... I don't know why I did that one so high. That should be enough room for that to ramp up. I don't feel like I need... Yeah. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. I could sink. Yeah, I could do the first ones, but it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Okay, then we're gonna have to bring water in. I need 180 water times 4. Just 720, so that's more than a Mark II pipe. If I did 2 of these together on a pipe, that's 360. 360 divided by 3 is 120. I think the water extractor is 120? Yes, 120. Okay, so 3 water extractors into a Mark II pipe. A Mark II pipe feeds 2 of these. There's 20 of them. That means there's going to be 10 Mark II pipes of water, and there's going to be 30 water extractors. Oh boy. And I want to hook these up to power. Let me hook these up to power and then go figure this water thing out. That's a lot of water. Oh wait, I take that back. That would be if we were 100% supplying water. But we're not. We're going to get water back from the next row, right? So I need 3,600 water, but we're going to get 1,200. I only need 2,400 water. This is actually a good ratio because this pumps out 120. If I had, instead of 3 water extractors, if I had 2 water extractors pump into a Mark II pipe and this thing pumped into a Mark II pipe, the 3 of them would be 360, and then that would feed 2. So yeah, I still need to do what I said. I need 10 Mark II pipes coming from the water, which is that way. But each one only needs 2 extractors on each one. And then when we come over here to do 10 refineries, each one individually goes down to one of those 10 pipes. Those 10 pipes come over and feed 2. And I don't even have to mess with... Well, no. Yeah, because it literally, the water extractors can only push 240 and that can only push 120. It's not even going to back up. I don't even have to do anything complicated to try to make sure we use that water before the other water, because it's all going to add up exactly to 360 and they're going to use 360. I suppose there's a scenario where the output backs up and then it's possible that could still mess up, but I'm not going to mess with that for now. I'm going to do it the simple way and then see if it breaks. No, I've got a better plan. I'm going to incorporate these small fluid buffers. I don't know if it'll be exactly right here. It might, because I could come out and have my T, even though it's not a T, right? It's a cross, but it'll be a T, and then it'll feed that one and feed that one. The goal will be the water extractors outside are lower. I want to raise this fluid buffer up to where the water extractor with no pump can only fill this about halfway, however high that looks. Let's say it's there. So the 2 water extractors pushing their 240 in, 120 each, fills this up halfway. They can't fill it up anymore because they don't have the head lift to get it more than halfway, right? So it fills up halfway and stops. And then it gravity flows down, which I think is always good. But the refinery over here, because it's higher, it can fill this up all the way. So there's really no possibility of it messing up then. I don't think I even need this. I think it'll probably work. But if let's say, because we're pumping into 2, let's say the output backs up and then these turn on, like we need the water to come out of that one completely first before we get any from the water extractors. And this will do it because this will start using water. And as it's using water, the extractors won't turn on, but the refinery will keep filling it up. So you'll use all the water out of the refinery first. Sorry about my voice. You'll use all the water out of the refinery first. Then when it gets below half, the extractors will turn on. So I don't know how high this needs to be yet, but that's how we're going to do it. I probably need to do these refineries first so that I know where the pipes run underneath. So we're not going to hook up any of the water, but it's fine because the water's not going to come out here. It's just going to be right there. So yeah, I haven't planned this out at all because when I started thinking about it, I was like, it's too complicated to plan out. I need to start doing it and then see where I'm at. So I'm going to tear this back down. When we get over to this one to put the refineries up, then we'll be able to build this for real. So we're done with the inputs for now. I actually think this is going to work out really well. So we've got the Alumina Solution that'll be coming out of here. And each one of these does 120. These need 240. So basically one of those for 2 of these. So I'm like, okay, instead of having 4, I only need 2. Why don't I just put the 2 in the center? Well, it's not really the center. It's basically, it's where those middle 2 are. And that way it gives me a space on each end. I don't know why I might need that space, but hey, why not? And I reversed them. So the Alumina Solution, basically from these 2, that 240, that needs piped over and go into 1. Those 2 go into that one, right? And then these 2 into 2, into 1, and those 2 into 1. Then these are going to also need coal. So yeah, we got to bring the coal in from that corner. That's fine. Then we got to get rid of the water. And one of those needs to feed 2. And so we'll have 1 water pipe, 1 water pipe. Well, then there's those 2. So that having the outputs on this end also works. So basically those 2 pipes will get connected to, each one of those. So those 2 will feed each one of those. And yeah, it's basically just do what I did here, but reverse them and just use the center two refineries and leave the other ones off. And then that's going to push out a lot of aluminum scrap, a lot. Each one of these will have to be, oh no, wait, because that's not water. The water is the output. Yeah, the water and the coal. I don't think those will be too bad. And then we just have to get the silica out, and then we're going to need the silica. And I don't know. It's a lot of aluminum scrap. Do I do the 40 foundries here? Maybe. Because then the aluminum scrap is going to come from here to there. The silica is going to come from here to there. And the silica we could probably just pop up onto the logistics floor and run it down and then pop it back down. And then the other silica is upstairs on that end. Although I'm not going to reverse them. So I'd have to bring that to the logistics floor and down, and then, yeah. I don't think this will be too bad. I think the hard part's going to be getting all the water up. And I'm going to go ahead and figure out how we're going to pipe two of these into one. The silica, we're just going to pump up onto the logistics floor. So the silica will go up and we're going to pipe over. So I should pipe over first and then, conveyor up. Basically, I've just got to do that for the Alumina Solution. So I got to do it here and I'll have to do it there. And then on the far end, I'll just have to do half of it. I went ahead and modified it a little bit and just added the small buffer tank in. It shouldn't really matter, but I can see a scenario where somehow you get backed up, right? This gets backed up somehow. It needs 240. These are both trying to produce 120, but like they're also full. And so this one's got the 120 and it can just get off a little bit and then you're messing with it. Like once it's running, it's fine. But if it fills up or completely empties, then it kind of can make a mess. So I'm hoping the buffer tank here will possibly help with that. It might not be needed, but hey, might as well just throw them in. So I got the 4 there, and just the 2 there. So that's half the outputs completely done, right? Because they're all the way into that. So now we got to get rid of these outputs, which will be the silica. And that's what the rest of the output's going to look like. So I'm going to do Mark 3s. Maybe I should even make them Mark 4s, but I don't think I know we're only making 50 a minute, but if production backs up and these are all full of silica, I need to dump them out as quick as possible before we start using the new silica being made upstairs, right? Like we want to use all of this. So I think the Mark 3 will be fine because then we're running on to a Mark 5. If I had a Mark 6 here, then maybe, I'd go a bunch of Mark 4s, but I think that'll be fine. The important thing is we got to get it all out as quick as possible. That way the priority merger will keep, taking that from this belt instead of the new stuff from upstairs. So I'll have to run that down and then I'm going to have to do this again and then do half of it at the end. Well, I messed something up. It's an easy fix, but I messed something up. So I just connected the power and this turned on. Obviously there's no water, so it's not going to do anything, but I'm standing here and I'm like, oh, I put a regular splitter there, so it's split in 50-50. No, I need it to send 100% down here. I need that to be a smart splitter set to go left, and then overflow goes straight. Yeah, which I have to remember how to do this. Smart splitter, and then I think we do control. And then I want overflow left. No, I'm just going to say any. Doesn't really matter. Then overflow center. So everything's going to go that way. And then only what's left is going to go straight. And then it's going to get merged with the priority merger. Then that splitter, yeah, so this one doesn't matter because it's going to send everything down. This one needs to be a smart splitter, though. That should be a smart splitter. That one should be a smart splitter. Then this one needs to be a smart splitter. Then this needs to be a smart splitter. That technically should work. I could set it up and run it. It's not going to matter because we need the 1200 coming in because there's going to be plenty of extra. And that's the thing is when we do start this, none of this is going to work right because I'm missing 600 bauxite. But I believe now I've got all of the conveyor input is done. I've got the pipeline output done because those go over there. The conveyor output, which is the silica, I grab those 8, and then I grab these 2, so that's 10. Then we grab these 6, and then these 4, which is another 10. And then they, yeah, I shouldn't need priority or anything there because that should work out. So that should be 500 and 500 silica on both of those. Ignore all this for a second. Then we're making 2,000 silica upstairs because we need 3,000 total. So we got 4 belts. So this will be 500, 500, 500, 500. Those 4 belts come along and then they go down. So 4 belts of 500. So we have room for 280 on each belt. From downstairs, these 2 belts of 500, that's 1,000. So I can take this belt of 500 and do 4 125s, do this belt of 500 into 4 125s, and then put them onto these. If that doesn't make sense, let me explain it this way. So there's 500 here. We're going to split it 250, 250. Then there's another splitter, and it's got 2 outputs and 2 outputs. So it's going to go 125, 125, 125, 125, right? So you got 4 belts of 125. Here's 1 going that way. There's 2, there's 3, and then this one's 4. So 4 belts of 125 going over here. I'm doing the same thing with this 500, splitting it 250 and 250, and then splitting it again 125, 125, 125. I've got mergers on there, and then I'm bringing those 4 back in onto these 4. So now I have 4 belts of 250 each, which is still the 1,000. And these are all Mark V belts. So this is a load balancer. You don't normally need a load balancer, and I technically shouldn't need a load balancer, but I made one for one specific reason. So we're going to bring the 4 belts of 125 over. These are priority mergers, and they're set to take this stuff first. So it's a belt that can hold 780. There should only be 250 on each one of these, right? Because 125 and 125. So each one of these should have 250. It's going to take that first. Then it's going to take this stuff, which should just be 500. 500 and 250 is 750. So the 780 belt will have 750 on it. And those are going to come down. And then, of course, those are going to go up. And we're going to, feed them into a bunch of machines. The reason I made the load balancer here, and I could have made it more compact, but I spread it out on purpose just to try to make it look a little more logical. But it would have been better if I would have done one on top of the other. Okay, so to make the math simple, each one of these is going to have 750 on it, right? We got 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500. That's 3,000. We're doing it over 4 belts. That's 4 belts of 750. To make the math simple, let's say those 4 belts go into four refineries, and each one takes 750. The problem would be, let's say the top belt there, Refinery 4, it's backing up because it can't push out its end product. The output backs up. So then the input backs up, and then that backs up over to here, and it backs this belt up, which backs the refineries downstairs up. The reason I have the load balancer is if that one backs up, I don't want downstairs to back up, and it won't with this system because we've got 500 on this belt. Instead of putting 250 and 250, what we're doing is we're taking the 500, we're splitting it into 4 belts of 125, yes, and then we're putting it back on there. But these are Mark V belts. The 500 could technically all go this way and split 250 and 250. and then go up and go on to whichever those two belts were. Let's say it's these two. I could take the full 500 and put it on this belt and this belt, and then add in, you know, the other two, like 250, 250, 500, 500, right? Well, then this is going to back up. Yeah, that's fine, because we have a priority merger here that's going to take this first. I don't care if this backs up, because this is the new quartz that we're turning into silica. I need this one to not back up. So with this load balancer, it's going to spread them evenly out on all 4 lines. But if one line can't take it, it's going to spread them out evenly on 3 lines. Or even if it doesn't spread that out evenly, even if it tries to send 750 to one line, well, that line needs 750. This one just wouldn't run. So 750 would go there, and then maybe 250 goes there, and so then this thing supplies 500. And then, you know, the point is, we're never going to back up the silica on those machines, because it's going to find a way out on one of those 4 belts. And worst case, it's just not going to take anything from this. So I hope that makes sense. That should, and it, if the secondaries never back up that take the silica, it won't matter. But if they do, it won't be a problem on, you know, because that was what happened in the oil refinery. One set of machines had a backup, and it would cascade and cascade and cascade. So that shouldn't happen. So I got the 4 belts of silica here. They're ready to go back upstairs. Okay, so I'm editing the episode now, and it's too much for one episode. So I'm going to go ahead and split it into 2. So this is going to be the end of episode 36. And in just a second, this is going to be the beginning of episode 37. So thanks for watching, and see you guys on the next one.